The American Communist Party came out in support of Occupy Wall Street this week. The Communist Party USA posted the following statement on their website. This is an exciting time. Thousands of mainly young people have been occupying Wall Street for the last 3 weeks, and the Occupy movement has spread into more than 200 other cities. This movement, also known as the 99% movement, is being hailed across the country. Movements and organizations are reaching out in solidarity. The AFL-CIO is opening union halls and offering other material assistance. Ordinary people are donating food, money, and materials. In many cases, the Occupy movement is linking up with the National American Wants to Work Week of actions on October 10th through 16th. No doubt the Arab Spring demonstrations and those exploded in Wisconsin, Ohio, and elsewhere have inspired it. But underlying it all is the economic crisis, the massive unemployment, and growing realization that nothing is getting better, and in fact we may be slipping into a double-dip crisis. The crushing student debt and the feeling of being locked out of society with no future compounds this. The movement is the newest wrinkle in the all-people's upsurge against the banks and corporations and reflects a new level of class consciousness. What about the Nazis? The American Nazi Party, on their official Nazi Party website, came out in support of Occupy Wall Street. ANP leader Rocky Soheda stated what is really missing is the movement from these popular protests. It is time we pull WN, white Nazis, heads out of their collective asses and join in on the attack on Judeo-capitalism. What do you suggest? That WN working class white people defend the Judeo-capitalists? If the movement wasn't so pathetic, it would be out there leading these protests. The fact is that these lefties, as you call them, who are picking up the ball and running with it, only shows how much more in tune they are with the fed-up masses of white workers than the fossilized reactionary right wing. Who holds the wealth and power in this country? The Judeo-capitalists. Who is therefore the number one enemy who makes all of this filth happen? The Judeo-capitalists. Who therefore do WN need to fight? My heart is right there with these people. Perhaps someday the movement will show the same courage and dedication that these people out there fighting are showing. Sincerely, Rocky. Hail Victory, 88. How about the Ku Klux Klan? Well, KKK Grand Wizard, Louisiana politician, and former presidential nominee David Duke shows his support for Occupy Wall Street, saying, New York is the viper's nest of the Zionist-dominated globalist media. Finally, Americans are rising up, and it feels great. How about China? China supports Occupy Wall Street. A manifesto from China was issued. The message came from Chinese activists and academics in support of Occupy Wall Street, and it reads as follows. The Great Wall Street Revolution and the great popular Chilean winter that preceded it signaled that the day when we realize shared prosperity and popular democracy is approaching. It signals that worldwide popular and democratic socialist movement, dormant since 1970s, is waking up again. But this time it will be the final battle to put capitalism in its grave. The victory of popular democracy and death of elite rule are inevitable. The embers of revolt are scattered amongst us all, waiting to burn with the slightest breeze. The great era of popular democracy set to change history has arrived again. Resolutely support the American people in the Wall Street Revolution. Resolutely support all street protests pushing for shared prosperity and popular democracy. Long live the Wall Street Revolution. Long live the global movement of popular democracy. Long live popular international solidarity. In a similar note, here in America, there is a move towards popular democracy taking place. 11 states have already passed bills, while you were not paying attention, to dismantle the Electoral College in favor of popular democracy. 9 states have bills waiting on the governor's desk to be signed, and every other state in the Union has a bill in the works. China is also offering to bail out the European Union. They want market status in exchange for EU bailout. However, despite the EU being China's main trade partner and biggest customer, China says it will not be a white knight for the EU. It wants to be sure that its investment in the EU will be repaid in full. China wants market status, which means they want to participate freely in the world's open market. China's market economy status will be recognized by the whole world by 2016 based on rules of the World Trade Organization. Also, China would like there to be an end to the arms embargo with the EU. On the communist Russian front, former President Mikhail Gorbachev supports Occupy Wall Street, saying the following. We are reaping the consequences of a strategy that is not conducive to cooperation and partnership. to living in a new global situation. The world needs goals that will bring people together. Some people in the United States were pushing the idea of creating a global American empire, and that was a mistake from the start. Other people in America are now giving thought to the future of their country. The big banks, the big corporations are still paying the same big bonuses to their bosses. Was there ever a crisis for them? I believe America needs its own perestroika. The entire world situation did not develop properly. We saw deterioration where there should have been positive movement. My friend, the late Pope John Paul II, said it best. He said, "We need a new world order, one that is more stable, more humane, and more just." Others, including myself, have spoken about a new world order. But we are still facing the problem of building such a world order. Problems of the environment, of backwardsness and poverty, food shortages, all because we do not have a system of global governance. We cannot leave things as they were before. When we are seeing that these protests are moving to even new countries, that almost all countries are now witnessing such protests, that the people want change. As we are addressing these challenges, these problems raised by the protest movements, we will gradually find our way towards a new world order. Meanwhile, back in the United States, Speaker of the House John Boehner issues a warning that Russia is trying to rebuild the former Soviet Union empire, saying, "In Russia's use of old tools and old thinking, we see nothing short of an attempt to restore Soviet-style power and influence. Within Russia, control is the order of the day, with key industries nationalized, the independent media repressed, and the loyal opposition beaten and jailed. Russia uses natural resources as a political weapon, and it plays ball with unstable and dangerous regimes." Speaking of unstable and dangerous regimes, Iran held rallies this week in Tehran in support of Occupy Wall Street. Supreme leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid al-Khamenei, said that the capitalist system has reached an impasse, and the protests on Wall Street have set a crisis in motion in the West. The corruption of the capitalist regime has become evident for those people. The 1% who are ruling America launched the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, but the remaining 99% have to suffer the deaths and pay for it. And on a related note, along with the Nazi Party, Communist Party, China, Russia, Iran, David Duke, and all the others, another former Nazi youth brown shirt lended his support to Occupy Wall Street. Pope Benedict says that the Vatican supports Occupy Wall Street. The Vatican issued a document called A Note on Financial Reform from the Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace, calling for things such as the following. The world's peoples need to adopt an ethic of solidarity as the animating core of their action. A world political authority to manage the growing interdependence between states and regions of the world becomes more and more obvious, as well as the need for answers that are not just sectorial and isolated, but systematic and integrated, rich in solidarity and subsidiarity, and geared toward the universal common good. A central world bank that regulates the flow and system of monetary exchanges similar to the national central banks. So in other words, the Vatican's answer to the Occupy Wall Street unrest is a bigger government and a bigger bank. So in summary, Occupy Wall Street, the communists, the Nazis, the KKK, the Chinese, the Russians, Iran, and the Vatican are all openly calling for a new world order.